Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You've seen the thumbnail. Now we know what was going on pretty much with the gloves before the Brook and Khan fight. Before we get into that, let's turn to. Welcome back. Welcome back. Y'all see the picture up there? We're going to first start off with the show with that big happy birthday to none other than Floyd Mayweather Jr., who turns 45 years old today. Floyd would be now and tomorrow's Black History moment. He did too much in the sport for him not to be. We all know his accomplishments, and he dominated for approximately 20 years in the boxing world. He has a 50-0 record, perfect record. There's no need for me to go down the accolades and the things he was able to accomplish and the records that he broke because we're living in it. You know, Earl turned pro. I'm sorry. I got Earl on my mind. Wow. Floyd turned pro October 11th, 1996, and he ain't looked back since. So, shout outs to Floyd Mayweather Jr., an Olympian, a pro boxer with the perfect record. He is the gold standard. He is the standard in which people would like to emulate and, copy themselves off. He's going to be one of those guys that future boxers who are not even born yet, they're going to be like, I want to do what he did. I want to do it like he did. I personally feel like Floyd looked at all boxers and saw where they were winning and where they were losing, not just in the ring, but outside in life. No great person. This is relative for us to know that when you study history, you will find that no great person is without flaws. And I mean, they can have some major flaws, but it seemed to be the way. If you take any prominent person from history and you just read up on them and you'll be like, God, they was almost perfect, but not for that. And Floyd is no different. It's his attitude, it's his bravado, it's his ego, In boxing, you got to have that to be a great boxer. And so, like I said, he's broken more records than the majority of boxers in the past and present. And his record or his abilities will be a force to be reckoned with. Right now and in the future. And it's his work ethic. He attributed all to his upbringing, even though he had problems with that. He gives much credit to his dad and his uncle. Um, and he also his favorite saying is hard work, dedication. Hard work, dedication. He gives a new meaning to that. Because if you work as hard as Floyd and you dedicate yourself to the craft as much as Floyd did, there's no way that you can't be successful. And we don't have to like Floyd in everything he does, but you can't say that he didn't have a winning strategy, and it's a simple one. So here for Black History Month, let me give this man his flowers now. And I know in the years to come, people are going to talk about him like they talk about the old greats, like they talk about Joe Louis, like they talk about Sugar Ray Robinson. They're going to talk about him. They're going to have to talk about him. So now, other parts of his life, he can improve on, but who don't? Who don't need improving in other parts of their life? But I wanted to start off the show, giving him his flowers and happy birthday. Now, I'm gonna call him a king today. Happy birthday, King. Now, much blessings. Okay, so that's one of my Black History Month moments today. Got a couple of more today. But welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Thursday, and we got a couple of news, and then today, I want to get over. I want to make sure I get off in time to go check out some of my friends' channels. Because today gonna be a good one. So if you haven't subscribed already to the Mac Mob, you need to do so. But before I get into telling you where to go to subscribe, make sure you like, share, and subscribe in the Boxing Fans Talk TV. Make sure you lean on the leasy when you step into the heezy. Don't be out there reckless eyeballing. Just come on in and hit the like button. Help me get my algorithms up. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe and leave comments. If you don't agree or whatever, we respect all opinions here. Like, share, and subscribe when you step into the square circle. Also, I need y'all to remember, because I just was seeing my thumbnail on YouTube and it said 12:30 a.m. No, I come on every day at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna have to come up with something where I can put on the screen as I'm going live that show the time frames that I'm on. So make sure you guys remember that 7:30 p.m. Just look for me to go live. I pretty much come on every day at the same time. I do have a wellness show on Sunday at 1300. That's really 1 p.m. So y'all make sure y'all come in. Look at that. E Thriller is in the building with Papa King. He said, Peace Queen, happy G Day, TVE. Hey, I know this is a big night. I'm going to try to do a little bit of news because I'm a dancer my pizza to the Mac Mob Pizza. I'm going over there tonight. I can't wait. Got the popcorn already over here. And make sure you subscribe to E Thriller, the Black Picasso. This man paints pictures vividly. How you say? Put that full Coach K, full court pressure on these people next, keeping them honest. So thank you for coming in. Today we're gonna talk about a couple of things, and there's some unfortunate things that's happening in the world. I'm gonna touch on that a little bit because we need to pay attention because it might affect boxing as a whole. Talking about the war that Russia is starting and all that stuff. I'm so glad that I'm not in the military now. But shout outs to the folks that's in the military. I did go to a war and I wasn't scared. I'm in the best Navy of the world. I wasn't scared. But it's different when you got to be on the ground and everything. So shout outs to the troops and everybody in the military. And I hope they can resolve this peacefully. I always hope cooler heads prevail. He said, be back not feeling too well tonight. So we cancel Queen. Oh, ooh, Lord. Mm. That's all right. My prayers sent to B-Mac. I hope he be all right. He said, oh, yeah, I put that pressure on niggas. Indeed, indeed. Put it on them. Put on them. You know, I like to start every show with the water check. Um, I don't know, Ethril. I think they got the wrong times to come in because they don't start coming in till like, I be like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes into my thing. And that's when they start piling in. But I just go business as usual. Don't don't stop. Just keep going. And YouTube, for some reason, is not acting right with my times and my notifications or whatever. This is what people telling me. And every time I get off the show, it be so many people. I don't even know if they're allowing my likes. I really don't know. Because I'm telling you, I can end this show right now and it will have so many people in here. And I don't get it. So, like I said, like, share, and subscribe, leave a comment. You know, whether you agree with me or not, I have my own mind, you have your own mind. As long as we can respectfully disagree, then cool. He said, I got yours on my end though. Okay, I got you. I got you. And I'll be checking you out. Like sometimes I just like I have these appointments or I try to go out, still trying to have a night like every now and then. But I definitely be checking y'all out. Y'all had me rolling last night, the other day. So I don't miss a show. I don't miss a show. Um, so we finally got an answer to Kel Brook putting changing his gloves in the ring, which we found all of us found kind of weird. Like he made it to the ring, he did his ring walk, and then he got in the ring and changed his glove in the ring. And we was like, well, what the hell? And you know, I could hear the commentator say, have you ever seen that? No, I ain't never seen that. I know for myself, I've never seen that ever, whether it be in the States or any other country. So we was all curious about what was going on with that. But then it was revealed to us by Ben Shalom via Sky Sports. It was a contractual dispute, is what it was. That was the culprit that made him have to change his gloves in the ring. Neither Khan nor Brooke were allowed to wear gloves containing any horsehair. That was in the contract. They were not allowed to wear gloves containing any horsehair. And you know, horsehair gloves are considered a puncher's glove. So people who got power and a great punchers, they prefer those type gloves because they can do the most damage, right? Um, it was requested by Khan to be put in the contract. So all of that matters. If Khan requested that no hair horsehair gloves, it's kind of like Barrios requesting 10-ounce gloves. You know, it's leverages. It's, you know, I know when Madonna and Floyd Mayweather fought, they didn't allow Madonna to wear horsehair gloves. And horsehair gloves seem like they get worn out quickly. What I didn't know or what I've learned is that most gloves have horsehair in them. Period. I didn't know that. But there are specific gloves that do not have that. And if you put it in your contract, suffice to say, and you know, you pick a glove like Khan, it's almost like Khan and them knew. Team Khan knew that he would wind up picking a glove that had horsehair because according to Team Brooke, they in every glove, pretty much. But you can get a specified glove that really don't have that in there. Con team must have anticipated that they wouldn't pay attention to shit like that. So of course they let them do the ring walk and then take the gloves off, which would piss anybody off. I mean, Here as fans, we like, oh, fight over. And I heard that Tom was in the back about to walk out. It's like, fuck this fight. So that probably pissed Brooke off even more. It was like, man, take these motherfucking gloves off, man. Get this nigga what he want. But it was a tactic. It was a tactic to get under, in my opinion. I'm gonna say it like that because I'm not in Khan's mind, and he didn't come out and report this, but I think it was a tactic to get under his skin. Sometimes you can poke the bear and it don't turn out good for you, because they always say he who gets emotional loses, and I believe in that. I believe in that cold-heartedly. Can't win an argument being emotional. Shouldn't whip your kid's ass being emotional. It just never come out in the wash right. You know what I'm saying? You should get to a happy place where you're not really emotional because then you're going to think clearly and you're going to make better decisions, more informative decisions. But when you're emotional, you don't give a fuck about nothing because the emotions are leading the pack. You know what I'm saying? And so you got Khan, you know, poking the bear, making him more angry and emotional. And any fighter can tell you, any boxing coach can tell you, when they train their fighters, this is one thing they train them. Do not be emotional in there. I need you clear thinking because boxing is pretty much a chess game. And you need to be on your A game when you get in that square circle. So Khan and team knew what they was doing because and the crazy thing is the gloves were approved the night before. So can you imagine how Kell Brook felt? He get to the ring and they hitting him with the rah rah. He probably was mad as hell. He probably was furious. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm just reminded of when Kell Brooks said, I'm gonna knock the spark out your ass. I'm tripping on that. PGH Big Dog says, salute Queen T. Salute to you too, King. Yeah, but that changing of the glove, it was a tactic that Khan and them did, and it backfired. Poked the bear too much, and he had to teach your ass a lesson. He had to slap your dick in the mud. So, hey, note to self. Don't be trying these dirty fugazi ass tactics. I mean, it's crazy. If you agree to not wear horsehair gloves, why not? If make everything specific. If you're the one who's asking, for instance, Khan is the one who's requesting it. So I put myself in Khan's shoes. I'm sitting there requesting that you don't wear this, that, and the other. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm like, the only glove out there is this glove that don't have horsehair. So if you pick any other glove, it's a no for me. Why wouldn't you do that, Khan? But you thought getting under this man's skin that he was gonna take his eye off the ball, but he wanted you so bad. He ain't let it get under his skin. You just add fuel to the fire. That's what you did. But that was good to know that even the boxing gloves you don't think got horsehair. Like the ones that got it like completely horsehair. But who knew that other boxing gloves have horsehair? You know, but now we know. So they believe, like I said, Brook team believed that Khan knew this was pretty much a part of his antics, and like going in the future with all boxers, you're gonna have to specify if you're gonna pick something like that or make a recommendation or a request. You're gonna have to specify to ensure that your request is followed. Don't wait till people do the ring walk, and that's just bad taste. Because you had the fans like, what the fuck? Um, like those are tactics we can do without as fans. And look what happened to you. Hell Brook put paws. He put hands and feet on your ass. Put paws on you. So it didn't work in their favor. But I just found that interesting. I read up on that. In other news, So look, if anybody got something they want to cover from yesterday or anything that I ever talk about during the week, y'all can jump in. I put the link in the chat. But I'm just speaking of a couple of news. I tailored the show to make sure I was out of here in time. Fortunately, my boy B Mac is not feeling too well, so we're gonna have to postpone. I know it's coming, but I was ready. Hey, E Thriller, I was supposed to go out tonight too. I said, I'm hanging with B Mac. My friends was like, "Who is B Mac?" Don't worry about it. I'm hanging with B Mac. I was ready. I've been looking forward to it all week. PGH Big Dog said Khan just wasted Bud and B Mac's time. Shaking my head. Rick said easy work. Bud the only one who wins from that camp. Yeah, it's starting to look like it, don't it? As you had what's the guy named for Shakur last year? Ah, shit, why his name escaped me? But he's fun. Jamel Herring. He's a funny character. You guys should follow him on Instagram. You'll never hear me advertise like on Instagram. Follow this person, follow that person, because that's your social media. You do what you want. But he's a funny guy. He do little skits and shit on Instagram. It be brightening my day, like for real. He's a funny guy, like especially when he did the Ike Turner joint. That shit had me dying laughing. Aaron lost too. Yeah, Aaron lost. And so yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just proves even more PGH how good of a fighter Bud really is. That's what it does for me. It just proves it because, you know, when he do fight people, they'll say, "Oh, that person." They kind of like describe his opponents as tomato cans or washed up. But I'd be like, no, he's actually making them look ordinary or mediocre, I should say. If they look washed up to somebody or look like a tomato can, it's because he made them look mediocre. That's my feeling on it. PGA say yes. Aaron is entertaining on social media. He's a funny character, man. he, got, he can moonlight as a comedian. I'm just saying. Andrew Charles is in the building with Poppy King. He said, "Salute, Miss T. Salute to you too, King." Yeah, but yeah, that was funny. Um, on in other news though, and it's kind of more serious. It's what I kind of was talking about, and in the beginning of the show when I was talking about Russia has invaded Ukraine. Now, some of y'all know this about me. I'm a politics major. Well, I'm a history major and politics major. I have a degree in it, and when people have degrees and stuff, it don't mean they know everything. Because that's always the challenge. I can't never say that word in peace. Like, yeah, I got a degree. But people like, oh, but did you know this? So I always have to throw that caveat out. Yeah, I know a lot of stuff, but then some things you don't know. You can't know everything. But I definitely have a degree in both. And I had to back off of politics for my own mental health last year. I don't know what's going on with my chat over here. Not showing all of it. Can you guys hear me real clear? No, I got new equipment, so it's tripping over this side. Trying to learn all this stuff. How much money I spent on this mic? Y'all better hear me. But anyway, so I backed off of politics last year. And I feel a little differently about politics than a lot of you might feel. But I wore the uniform so you can feel how you want to feel. But nowadays, you can't feel how you feel without somebody feeling a certain kind of way about you or hating you. I don't get into all that. But after Trump time in office, I seriously need a break. I swear it still feel like it was yesterday. He was just about to leave. And we'll be in like we in 2 years now. We in the second year of Joe Biden's presidency. Such a relief for me. Now you might not like Joe Biden, but that's you. But from what we had before, I am in chill mode. But I really don't want to hear, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm kind of nervous about this this war because we sending folks over there. And like I said, I done backed off. I done backed off some of that shit. Like, what's going on. Okay, said PGH Big Dog said peace fam. And he said audio good. I don't know what's going on. Like my chat is way up here and it usually go way down here. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know. The StreamYard and YouTube, they do what they want to do. One day I get it right, y'all. Y'all bear with me. But I backed off and it seemed like to me it was last June. I think it was last June. And I said to myself, I can't paint every day because, you know, all, I was a politics connoisseur type person. I ate, slept, and drank that shit. I was in the military and I worked in intelligence. So I can tell you guys, it matters. It matters who you pick as your leaders because this lifestyle that you have, you don't want no other lifestyle. Trust me. And I can say that because, unlike a lot of you out there, I've lived overseas. I did the majority of my military career overseas. And I didn't just live on the base, I lived amongst the people. You know, I'd have been, you name it, I've been there. I don't really think you can name a place I ain't been, for the most part, or was close to. Been all over Europe. That was the first 10 years. Last 10, all over the East. Hawaii, too. I didn't go to Alaska. I wasn't pressed to go there. Beautiful country, but I wasn't pressed to go there. But what? China, so many times. Korea, so many times. Asia, Singapore, Russia. I missed it by that much in my Maxwell Smart voice going to Australia. We was on our way. North Korea tried to act a donkey. Voice going to Australia. We was on our way. What's up? What's up, player? You got to
What's
turn me
up,
down.
Miss T?
What's going on?
Hold on. Let me leave about here. Hold on.
On our way. You just got to turn me down in the back. You have a replay.
What's going on? Yeah, I had to leave up out of YouTube.
Okay. Some PGS said Biden is trash too. Biden and Trump the same to me. Well, PGS, we might have to disagree on that one, but it's okay, player.
What y'all talking about?
I was just talking. I'm about to get into this Vitaly Klitschko shit. Because of the Russia invading their home country. Andrew Charles said, "I don't want to see Russian blood on American hands. If need be, y'all have no idea what Russia.
Why is it on our hands?
Because we're gonna send people to help them. Got to. A lot of people don't understand what makes America the superpower that it is. How we able to sustain it. Just in life, if you think about it, it's easy to win something. It's easier to win something than to sustain something. If y'all understand what I mean. Get what I'm saying, ATL? Like, Floyd won all the fights he won, but to sustain is harder. And that's in life in general. When you talk about the military, you talking about superpower status in countries, that falls under that same umbrella. It's easier to gain our superpower, and for the record, what?
No, I just said, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and we became a superpower because of free labor, i.e., slavery. So that's a given. But once once you get the superpower, you got to sustain it. And since 1947, America has been operating under the auspice nature of containment. And a lot of people don't know what that means. I ain't gonna get into it. If for y'all history buffs, y'all know what I'm talking about.
You just came on. You gonna be on for a minute?
Yeah, not long, but yeah, I just came on.
You'll be on for a minute. I'll be back. Give me like 10 minutes.
All right, King.
I don't want to be rude.
Oh no, you good. So America operates on containment. It was a strategy that they came up with years ago. It's not a secret. It's in history books and everything. And if you don't know what that means, I'm not gonna bore you to death. Y'all can go read on it. Why we do what we do is for the purpose of containment. Now, if you want your democracy to survive, you can't be standing on the island. You can't be on the island. So you have to support um, other democracies, and whether they exactly like yours or not, if it's close enough. And so Russia doesn't do that. And it's crazy because you would think Russia is all into communism, but they're not. And so, like, when people be talking about socialism and communism, and they be talking about, well, they favor this, when America say it, I just shake my hand. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. I have to say that. You don't know what you're talking about. Because socialism is not something you want. You don't want it. You think you do, but you don't. And socialism and communism go hand in hand. And Russia act like that's what they're about, but no, they're not. They globalize. And whenever you're a state, meaning a country out there, and you globalize, you're not you're not into communism and socialism. It's a theory, sound good on paper to them, but it was a theory never realized. Not even China. You name me a communist country, and I'll show you how they wasn't. I'll show you how they were more capitalism than anything. I'll show you. Easy. So Russia know what they're doing, right? And people can say that they like Trump and he was a leader. Trump was an idiot and people knew it. So you don't play with idiots, do you? So a lot of things didn't happen because they knew his state of mind. But nobody really talks about how he gave up positions of US troops and he wasn't loyal. Guys in your everyday life despise people who are not loyal to you, especially your female counterpart. Ah, that bitch ain't loyal. Trump was never loyal. He was never loyal. He would give up. Fucking, that's the biggest one for me. I couldn't have been in the military when he was in office. No way, no how. Not fighting neither. Because, today he the president, tomorrow he repping the other team who's shooting bullets at us. No, I couldn't do it. But y'all don't think about shit like that. See, y'all don't even give a care. And this whole Ukraine, I know you said probably what that got to do with the Ukraine, got a lot to do with the Ukraine, you know? And why am I talking about it on boxing? Because guess what? Name three top fighters from the Ukraine. I'll help you out. You got Vladimir Klitschko, but they retired, but they still Ukrainians. They going in the history books. Got Lomachenko. Isn't Lomachenko trying to angle to get that fight with George Kambosos? Whether we agree he should have it or not, he's an active fighter. And you got Alexander Usyk, who is the heavyweight champ, three belt holder. And their rematch, him and AJ's rematch is coming up. So y'all don't think that can affect boxing as we know it today? The AJ fight can be put off, but the sanctioning bodies are over this side of the hemisphere. They don't have to wait on them. Think about it. All the sanctioning bodies, the belts, are over this side of the hemisphere. Now, each country got their own individual type belts of notoriety or whatever, but the WBO is in Puerto Rico. The WBC is in Mexico. The WBA is in Venezuela. And the IBF is out of New Jersey. So the Western Hemisphere holds all the big time sanctioning belts, the belts that are going to make you undisputed. And right now, we're at the precipice of having an undisputed heavyweight champion. Once Fury and Dillian do their fight, and once AJ and Usyk do their rematch, then we're at the precipice of the lightweight, the 135 pounders becoming undisputed. And George Kambosos or whoever he ever picked to be his dance partner, which Lomachenko was on the roster. Then we at the precipice of a undisputed title, depending on how Errol Spence and Ugas turns out, and then of course matching up with Terrence Crawford. And then we at the precipice of having undisputed at the 154 with Castano and Charlo. Big things can be going on or about to happen in the boxing world. Andrew Charles said, I grew up in the last days of the Cold War. I was raised to possibly fight them. That was then, and I don't consider them an enemy now. And AI don't consider Ukraine an ally. Okay? Did Loma or Usyk say anything yet? Klitschko said something. I haven't heard Loma or Usyk saying something, but I don't see daylight between any of those guys because what Russia is doing is wrong. I don't even know the whole story, but I know they're wrong because they've been pushing this envelope since Trump was in. You know, at one time, see, Vladimir, what's his name? Putin. I forgot his first name. Putin. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the leader of Russia. It's real criminal how he stays in power. He kind of gets elected as the president of Russia. And in Russia, you have the president, and after that, you go to the prime minister. Now, either position is carrying the same weight, but just to come off like they fair, this term is the president, run for president. The next term, you run for prime minister. Somehow or another, it's always the same guy, Putin. These people are not electing him in, they're forced. He is pretty much being a dictator, and he's starting mess, and he's fucking over people, and he's corrupting. He's breaking into. He's doing cyber warfare and everything, and a lot of people don't know how important it is to your everyday life that you get a hold of this dude. That we get a hold of this dude, and we let him know in the world stage, you can't doing this stuff. You know, so for me, PGH, it bothers me because I know what it can mean in the long run. Now, Russia during the Reagan years pretty much went belly up. They had a lot of corruption going on. They always been kind of corrupted, but they went belly up trying to keep up or outbuild Reagan. You know, in the 80s, I'm gonna tell you guys, Republicans spend, 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 spend. They don't pay for shit. And when the Democrats come in, they have to pay for shit and be more physically responsible. I know a lot of people don't believe in that and don't see it that way, but it is a fact. It's just a fact. It's just the way it is. And so when Republicans are in, it seems like you're having a great time and all that. Some folks, anyway. I'm here to tell you full disclosure. Y'all know I'm a Democrat, but at the same time, it doesn't matter me personally. It really don't matter who wins if it's Republican or Democrat. Because Republicans, I'm gonna be eating even better. But Democrats, everybody to me, overall, not a perfect system, is gonna be eating. When Republicans in, poor people gonna be more destitute. Middle class people gonna fall off. They're gonna be left holding the bag. Democrats in, they're gonna spread the responsibility to everybody as much as they can, and they're gonna have to be fiscally responsible to clean up the mess. It's the way it is. Clinton left office with a surplus. There's only one president that zeroed the balance out, and that was Zachary Taylor. But it was easy to do it. Different circumstances. You have to get into the weeds of that. I know that that dude was Trump's favorite guy. He was the most racist mofo ever. Like the shit he did to Indians, it's crazy. But he's the only person that left a zero balance. Every other president either had a deficit or a surplus. Clinton had a serious surplus. So can we say he was physically responsible? Yes. Did he balance the budget? Yes. Bush came in and did what? Took all that surplus and spent. Didn't pay for nothing. Just spent. It's kind of like having your credit card. You got a 2000, let's say you got a $2,000 balance. The Republicans come in, you're gonna max the card out. You're gonna pay for stuff, but some shit you're not gonna pay for. So now you max it out and you got a deficit. You owe money. When the Democrats come in, they're gonna be physically responsible because they're gonna have to clean up that shit because the country cannot sustain in that status. So somebody have to do it, and it usually falls on a Democrat. The Republicans have sold the country on um, that when it comes to war and all this stuff, they're the better people. That's what they sold the country on, and people believe it. Okay, and they also believe that the Democrats want to take your guns. Yet it has never happened, and they never have. Listen, I'm a stone cold Democrat, and I'm strapped like a motherfucker up in here. Don't test me. Make them soft and squeeze me. That's all I can say. And I know plenty of Democrats like that. Democrats love their guns too, but it's all this fodder that you be talking about now. We at a point where a whole country is getting invaded, and all of that goes back so many years to what happened to Russia in the 80s. Russia had Belarus, Romania. They had all these other countries that are independent states now under its umbrella. It was the USSR, and they fell trying to keep up with Reagan, outbidding, like buying all these weapons and making, I should say, making all these weapons. They succumbed to the pressure. They fell apart. All these different states like Belarus, Romania, all these other different places, they became their own independent state. And Ukraine always had its independence, but Russia wants it back, and they just taking it. And we don't, we not. This is not the time of Stalin and Leningrad and all that shit. It's not World War II. It's the whole new century, and we shouldn't. Nowadays, everybody has state claim to their lands and their countries or their states. How we living in times where a whole country is invading a superpower is invading the little guy. I ain't saying Ukraine is all perfect and shit, but damn, it's their country. Like nobody would like that. And they just going in taking it. Last time we saw that, we had World War II on our hands, remember? When you know better, you do better. So that's what I was gonna talk about. It intersects boxing, and I'm sorry to be talking about it if I'm boring some of y'all, but it's important. And I didn't have to look at news because I know that this problem been going on since the 80s. Nothing happens on a grand scale like this and that can be historical. It doesn't happen that day. It's been brewing for 20, 30 plus years beforehand. This has been brewing since Reagan times. Vitaly Klitschko told ITV he has no choice but to take up arms against Russia. So if he feel that way, his brother Vladimir feels that way. And Vitaly is the mayor of Kiev. Um, Russia has invaded Ukraine. That's what I'm letting you guys know. Um, they saying that the people of Kiev, this is what Vitaly and them are saying, that they got guns too. They got weapons too, and they ready to get it crunk too. I'm just putting it in my own way. They got soldiers. They're ready. They're gonna defend their homeland as they should. Andrew Charles said Ukraine government and industry is a mafia ran cesspool as well. It could be, but it's theirs. It's theirs, and they do elect officials. And then it's not our job to make sure it go all correctly. We have corrupt shit over here. You know, we be trying to what's corrupt is gerrymandering. That's corrupt. But if Americans didn't listen to folks that be like, don't vote, which is crazy as hell to me. I'm sorry. I love and respect everybody. And you can have your difference of opinion. That's what I wore the uniform for. But I think it's utterly stupid to say not to vote. Why? You think you better than the people that put their life on the line so that you can vote? Think you better? Think you tougher? You know, we supposed to take what they did in vain, but listen hard to you new age folks that feel like you shouldn't vote. We can't take y'all in vain, but we supposed to take those people in vain. They did the heavy lifting. These people today ain't doing shit. Don't vote. These people put their life on the line so you can read, so you can so you can have equal education, so you can vote. You know how bad they was killing folks that even interfered in that shit back in the 60s and the 50s. And then we're gonna wait to now to say, oh, don't vote. Fuck it. Huh? I don't get that. I'll never take nobody's life in vain. You died so I can have a privilege. I'm gonna honor and respect that. The best I can do. And to me, it's a slap in those people's face. They die for nothing when they come to you. If you feel like you ain't gonna take advantage of what they died for, they die for nothing. And I just don't see how people can do that. But regardless of what we feel about Ukraine, they're their own country. If we let that happen, then who's next? There's a famous saying, and I might mess up the quote. Somebody out of Germany, I think, said this. He said, we watched when they came after this person or that person, stood on the sidelines. And then it got to be, we didn't help. And then basically we just watch as they pick a reason to get these people off the street and do the brutal shit that they did to them. They ain't say nothing. Then pretty soon, when they came for us, there was nobody there to protect us at all. I'm messing that up completely, I know, but y'all get the point. How much you gonna watch? You have to get involved. NATO, America, other superpowers in Europe, they have to get involved because can't let shit like that happen. Give a person an inch, they take a mile. Y'all came apart, USS Russia. That wasn't nobody did nothing to you. You did it to yourself. And you fell apart. And if y'all was all that, then why the fuck do we keep defecting? But I guess Putin is saying he want that old thing back. He want that control. He wants to run things. I mean, let me tell you, if you don't have legitimacy, you cannot sustain power like that. If you don't have legitimacy backing it up. And I think this is unfortunate. And like I said, shout outs to the Klitschko's, shout out to the whole Ukraine, but specifically to the Klitschko's, Usyk and Lomachenko from the boxing world. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot to think about. Even if they get out because they have money, they got family there. Like your whole family is based there. Like some of us, we can live all around the country, but like I live in Georgia, but my whole family is out of Virginia. The majority of them. I have family in New York, DC, down here too, all over the country. But the core is Virginia, from my perspective. And I can't be doing well if I knew Virginia was in some hot shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm worried about my family. It's possible that grandmothers, uncles, you know, a core part of your family culture and tradition can be lost over this. And I apologize because I can hear this mic going in and out. I don't know why it does that. Andrew Charles said, I still think Americans directly killing Russians should be avoided and vice versa. That's my main point. I feel you. I pray for cooler heads to prevail. I pray for diplomacy, not just from us, but from Russia. I do pray. But we can overlook and say, well, that's just Ukraine. You think Russia gonna be satisfied? And the one thing, what we might have got our dominance or superpower in the world, certain way, But we're gonna be able to sustain that, and you, as ordinary Americans, gonna want that because the dollar means everything. You know, if the ruble fall, that won't mean a hill of bean over here. Not too much. Unless it's holding interest, from Russia's they got, holding interest here in the States or whatever. But it ain't gonna change your day. When the euro fell, it didn't change your day, did it? It fucked Europe up, but then Germany under Angela Merkel, shout outs to her, a great leader. Um, she was able to sustain Europe and get everybody back on track, and she lent money out. Who would have thought it? Germany, right? So she sustained them. Um, England had the fortitude to know that they wanted to keep the pound, but they still had their dollar. If American dollar fall, everybody fails worldwide. And because we have, once you get to that type of level, you have to sustain it. So this is why a lot of times Americans get involved with stuff. It's just bigger than Nino. And again, you can get more into the weeds of it to see why we, activate our troops to go help this person or that person. And we be like, it's not our business. Y'all got to get more into the weeds. It's not as simple as black and white. You know, a lot of y'all think y'all can do without the American way, but you can't. I'm telling you, you can't. And so this is important news, and I hope everything goes okay. So for boxing, this is important because Usyk, like I told you, has the three belts. Loma is trying to get Cambosos. I doubt if either one of them could be focused on any fight. They are vulnerable at this time, and you never know. You might see somebody like Cambosos do pull a fugazi ass move, but we all know that poking the bear can backfire, as we just seen with Khan and Brooke. But Cambosos could be like, yo, I want to get with Loma Chico because I know he can't be totally focused. His whole family over there. I don't know about that. I mean, but hey, we might see that. But it's a tactic. It's a leveraging tactical move. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm talking about it. One of the Klitschko's was once married to an American actress called Hayden Panettiere, and they share a child together. So I don't know if her child was over there, spending time with dad or whatever. Y'all know Hayden. I remember her best as a little girl from Guiding Light, but you guys know Hayden. I think she had some kind of superpower. She do a lot of movies. Y'all know Hayden. You know, um, but surely for the up and coming months, the focus will be there, especially for those fighters that I just mentioned and any other Ukrainian fighter that has turned professional and is traveling around the world trying to put, make lemonade out of the lemons that they was given, in their boxing career. So I hope everything works out. And remember, Vitaly Klitschko is a mayor of Kiev, and he said, "Hey, lock and loaded." That's pretty much his message. We got guns too. Niggas bleed just like us. That dude he ain't wavered. He's like straight up. We got guns too. We ready to get it in. But I hope cooler heads prevail. Russia been asking for some mess for a minute now. They've been fucking with everybody, and it's time for them to get their just reward, whatever that may be. Moving on. So Andrade versus Parker is on. It's on like popcorn. Queensberry Promotions won the purse bid for the two WBO interim title fight. That's what it's going to be. A WBO interim title fight for Parker and Andre. That's going to be at the 168 division. Macadocious Mac of the South. Salute the lovely and beautiful Madame Queen, Miss T. Salute to you too, King. And he's saying salute PTH and my brother. Salute to my brother, King. Um, so Queensberry Promotions won that first bid. I was like, Queensberry. Like, how many names do Frank Warren work under? Frank Warren by any other name is still Frank Warren. Uh, he 2 for 2 this year, huh? Oh, he pretty much 2 for 2. Um, they won the purse bid, um, and so he on the road lately. As you know, January 28th, he just won the Tyson Fury and Dillian White purse bid, and he works for Bob Arum, so I don't really know who's gonna be putting on this show. Andre he works under Eddie Hearn Matchroom, but this is not an Eddie Hearn show. Andre was contemplating moving up to 160, dropping this belt at 168, dropping this belt at 160. And so what's gonna happen is of course Andre wants the shot at Canelo, but they're gonna make him do an interim belt bout with this guy named Parker. I believe his name's Zachary. Excuse me if I got it wrong, but Zachary Parker. And they're gonna fight for the interim championship, which then that person will get the shot at Canelo. In order for Andre to do that, he has to drop his belt, and so that's why they put Munguia, Hami Munguia, and Janibek, who was the mandatory for Andre. That's why they making them two be a mandatory because whoever the winner of that one is going to be elevated to the WBO champion once Andre dropped that belt. Or if Andre hasn't dropped the belt yet. That's what it's telling. This is what these nuggets are telling me. Like, eh, Andre hasn't as of yet dropped the belt, but he's pretty much going to because he's negotiating all this other stuff, and it's a purse bid, so he must. It's a foregone conclusion he's going to drop the belt. But the winner between Hami McGear and Janibek is going to be the WBO champion at 160. It's that quick. Just that quick. Macadocious Mac of the South said, why is Chisora talking about he want to feel Wilder power in a boxing match? Wilder would KO him in 4 rounds. Remember, Macadocious, Chisora just had a fight with somebody. I can't remember who it was. And they was getting on his ass. And you old, man, you old. You need to go ahead, take the gloves back to the house. And he had a statement about, like, if you don't want to look at me, then don't look at me then. He got an attitude like, stop watching me then. If you don't want to look at me, fuck y'all. Yeah, I'll hang it up when I'm ready to hang it up. So I think with Chisora, he's just trying to maximize as much as he can maximize out his career. He's pretty much at the tail end. It was evidently clear that Father Time was catching up with him. I think he won that match, but or if he lost it, I can't even remember what happened. But he just had a fight not that long ago, and everybody was like, the writing's on the wall. You need to go on and hang it up, but he's not ready to. So he just want to maximize the shit. He know that for a belt or not a belt, a fight with Deontay is going to generate money, probably more money than he ever had or ever got paid. So he's just putting in this beat. That's all that is, Mac. No, that's all because he really don't want to feel that. I don't even know if we gotta see how Deontay be feeling. Deontay is doing his thing. He's living his best life. Why he's because remember he broke his hand, so he can't even come back to April or May, I believe. Anyway, so Deontay's living his best life. Um, Going back to Usyk, I worry about this because we just have to keep a lookout on this because Usyk actually has the belts, and if Usyk is caught up in what's going on, because from my understanding, they are recruiting 18 to 60-year-olds to fight in this war. And if Usyk get caught up in it, and we all understand it's his country. He loves his country. The sanctioning bodies more than likely are not going to wait for him. So what do you do in a case like that? It might be good for us. It might be. It might be not to make no kind of light fun over what's going on in the Ukraine, but it might be good for us because I highly doubt. Y'all hear it first here. I highly doubt that the sanctioning body is going to wait, and Usyk is going to have to give up them belts. And if they give up them belts, they're going to be scattered to the winds. Uh, Fucking Fury, White, AJ, Deontay, none of them can make a beeline. They're gonna have to one by one scoop them shits up. So you're gonna have your highest ranking folks, and y'all be watching these rankings. Look at what they were today and before, or a month ago. Look at what they were, and then look who they snuck in through the back door. Now, this is shit you gotta watch out for, because you know how these sanctioning bodies be. Look at what they do. Now, a month ago or 2 months ago, I did not see Tyson Fury top one on everybody's list. Of course, he at the top for the WBC because he hold that title. He was in the top WBO. He was in the top IBF. He was in the top. Just going down the list. WBA. Let's see what they do next. And this is what I'm talking about. They interfere and interject too goddamn much, but it's possible. I didn't read this nowhere. This is me speculating because I know the history of Ukraine and I know the history of Russia. I know it from that standpoint. And, you know, Vladimir of Vitaly's Klitschko's sentiments, I wouldn't doubt that Lomachenko and Usyk feel the same way. As they should. It's their country. Their whole family are there. It's not going to be good for their whole family. So it's not going to be good for their way of life or what they're doing. Think about it. The recruiting age is 18 to 60. Really? That comes off a little desperate to me. Every man who's available, in other words, all men on deck. They're fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their land. And if Usyk feel like, look, I got to rise you up. I got to man up. I'm not just fighting for my country. I'm fighting for my way of life, my belief system, my family. If he does that, um, you can't really say the sanctioning bodies is doing them wrong. Life goes on, It's something like they used to tell us in the military. The Navy gonna be the Navy, whether you in this bitch or not. It was the Navy before you got here. It's gonna be the Navy after you leave. You ain't stopping no show or starting no show. And that's just how it is gonna be in these boxing streets. Whether Usyk is the heavyweight champ or not, they are not gonna wait. They're gonna have to strip him, or he gonna voluntarily give up his belts. That is something to be watching. And then y'all watch these rankings and watch how they strategically move people that they want to move. Watch it. Tyson Fury, he has a game plan for the first time out. This type of fighter he is. He has a game plan for the first time out, and it's usually something dealing with cheating or something. He gonna have that game plan, but his cheating ways is not conducive to him running it back. He don't have a full fledged iron, solid cheating type way where he can do it over and over and over again. He's more of an element of surprise type guy. Y'all mark my words. That's his problem with this whole boxing thing. He don't want to do too much. Got a plan for you the first time around. He don't got a plan for you the second time around. He ain't never gonna try to defend his belt. He cried like a baby, threw a tantrum that he had to even defend the WBC. And when Wilder took him to court. Now watch. Now watch. The people who should be in line to get these belts, watch how they're not gonna give it to AJ, but so like if you IBF, and let's say, but it can't be Charles Martin no more. So I don't know who is the top person for the IBF. So that person gonna fight AJ, and y'all gonna see AJ do it the second time around. Gonna go one by one and scoop up them belts. Tyson gonna have to fight a whole bunch of people, which means he gonna have to defend his WBC belt. He doesn't like to do that. He may very well retire. So I'm gonna be keeping an eye on that. Getting back to this purse bid that the Queensberry Frank Warren won. He won that purse bid for 1.8 million. I'll leave it right there. It's a bunch of numbers. For 1.8 million, he put up for that fight. It was held Thursday at the WBA headquarters in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Um, Frank Warren outbidded Matchroom again, like I said, for the second time this year. He just outbidded him January 28th for the Fury and White fight. That couldn't have made uh, his name. That couldn't have made Eddie Hearn happy. Um, so for Parker, um, Frank Warren is his promoter. Queensberry is his promotion company, and Frank Warren works with Top Rank a lot. So I'm going to imagine that the fight is going to be on Fox or ESPN, pretty much ESPN. I'm thinking that hasn't been put out, but I'm thinking. Um, but Queensberry got to immediately put up 20% in escrow to validate their winning the bid. So that, put the money in escrow, and they're targeting or projecting this fight to be around May 21st time frame this year. So Andrade is gonna get 65%, and that come out to $1.192 million. And Parker is gonna get $641,000. You know, 100,000 or whatever, 641,000. So that's that's what's going down. I didn't even know. I forgot about their little purse bid or what they had to do and all that stuff. So that's what's up. um, as I said before, I didn't have a big long thing I was getting ready for D Mac, but he's under the weather. Guys, please still go over there and subscribe to the Mac Mom. Make sure y'all hit the like buttons. I seen the numbers go up and down. Make sure y'all hit the like buttons. Help us to style with the algorithms. Share and comment. Tell me what you think. You ain't hurting my feelings, because I respect your opinions, and hopefully you respect mine. I don't care though. um, but like, share, and subscribe when you step into the square circle. Um, Also, make sure you go over and subscribe to E Thriller, the Black Picasso, and Bold and Understanding. Subscribe to him. People give out good content. But if nothing else, just help everybody get their numbers up. Subscribe. That ain't hurting. You don't have to look. I can't look at everybody's because there's so many shows, but I always subscribe to everyone. So y'all could do that. I could do that at least. Um, Spread the word. Y'all out there in these boxing streets. But again, prayers sent out to the country of Ukraine. And I pray that cooler heads prevail, especially in regards to Putin. And prayers go out to our troops, who I know who's going to be sent over there to be involved. And you can't help it. Y'all cannot blame Joe Biden for this. I mean, it has to be done. A lot of people don't understand how this shit works. It has to be done. Anybody who think that we can sit out on it, crazy as a motherfucker. He cannot sit out on it. And I don't know how Joe Biden is gonna thread this needle, but I'm sure he got his best people on it, and he's gonna try his best to do it that's more conducive for us. But there's no way out of this. It really ain't. It just ain't. So, and y'all be paying attention to how boxing is going to be going over the next couple of months or however long this war is going on, because it's going to affect boxing. It's going to affect boxing big time. So, um, I started off the show talking about Mayweather, right? Hold on. Let me pull up his picture. This is the time when I get into the Black History Month. But we know everything about Mayweather. Happy birthday, champ. He's 45 years old today. Shout outs to Mayweather for being the best that ever did it. So he get his flowers today as well. So I'm gonna talk about let me get this up. I'm gonna talk about a person who was named Bill Richmond. Okay, stuff around. Y'all hold on 1 second. So hold on, let me put some music with it. I was gonna play that go go today. I totally forgot. So Bill Richmond was born into slavery on what's today we call New York borough of Staten Island on August 5th, 1763. When the British landed there in 1776, at the start of the American Revolution, Richmond did what many slaves of the day did. He enlisted in the British Army to exchange for the promise of freedom. As historian T.J. Albee noted in the Journal of Sports History, Richmond likely came to the attention of British General Hugh Percy when, at just 13 years old, he single-handedly defeated 3 British soldiers who mocked him and harassed him as he tended to horses under his care. The general was so impressed with the young Bill that he brought the boy back to England as a personal valet. There, the forward-thinking Percy did something unthinkable in America. He paid for Bill to be formally educated and got him an apprenticeship to the cabinet maker in York. Educated, skilled, and financially stable, Richmond enjoyed a life that most blacks on either side of the Atlantic wouldn't have dreamed of during the 1790s, when slavery was still very much legal in England. Yet the fashionable Richmond was not without his detractors, and his romance and marriage to a white British woman caused a lot of resentment from working class whites. Bill was constantly fighting, not for money, but rather his own honor, just as he had with the soldiers who mocked him when he was a boy on Staten Island. Richmond held the bigots he encountered on the streets of London accountable for their taunts and attacks. According to Boxing Monthly, in 1804, the 41-year-old Richmond attended a prize fight between Henry Pierce and Joe Burks. After the fight, issued an impromptu challenge to George Maddox, considered one of the best fighters of the bare knuckle era. Although Bill lost to this more experienced Maddox, he threw himself headlong into the sport, becoming a trainer as well as a fighter. He returned to the ring the following year and began mowing down opponents. As he racked up the wins, Richmond also changed the fundamentals of the sport itself. Prior to Bill's emergence in England, boxing was much more brutal than it is today. Ask any boxer, and they'll tell you that standing still in the ring is the worst thing you can do in a match. But in Georgian England, that strategy was at the core of what boxing was. Opponents would stand toe to toe, exchanging powerful blows until one could no longer take it. The concept was known as bottom. Rounds did not end until one man fell, And fallen boxers would then have 30 seconds to return to the scratch line, a point in the middle of the ring. If they reached the scratch, the fight continued and a new round started. There was no limit to how many rounds could be fought, so the brutal matches could, in theory, go on forever. The damage boxers did to one another as they fought through broken bones and frequent head injuries is almost unfathomable. Richmond broke through by breaking the rules. Most of his strategy involved avoiding punches, not absorbing them, and countering his off balance opponents with more opponent blows. Although it sounds obvious, it was truly revolutionary back then. But it certainly wasn't well received. Bill was attacked by white fans who called him a coward, among other things, but not standing his ground to fight. It didn't really matter to Bill, he just kept winning. According to the racist myths of that time, whites were naturally more intelligent and better at everything, including athletics, because, well, science. Along came Bill Richmond showing that he was not only tougher than the white fighters, but actually smarter. The horror of it all. So you can imagine the outrage, shock, and fear among fans, then known as the fancy, when Bill Richmond, a black man in his 40s, began besting the best young white boxers in England. In 1805, Richmond faced his toughest challenge, a one-on-one battle with a rising star named Thomas Cribb. Not only was Cribb nearly 20 years Richmond's junior, records show that he outweighed his older opponent by more than 70 pounds. Nevertheless, Richmond used his defensive style to keep the overwhelmingly larger Cribb at bay. After 90 minutes of dipping, diving, and dodging Cribb's attacks, Richmond realized he wouldn't be able to win and threw in the towel. He would not box again for 4 years. During his time away, Richmond became one of the more sought-after boxing trainers in all of England, black or white. In his late 40s, Bill made a comeback, even avenging that first loss against George Maddox. He made enough money in that fight to buy himself the Horse and Dolphin pub. It was there that he met Tom Molyneux. Like Richmond, Molyneux was an American-born former slave. Richmond immediately set about training his new protege. In December 1810, Molyneux would get a shot at avenging Richmond's loss to Thomas Cribb. Richmond did most of the legwork behind the fight, making him one of the first African Americans to ever promote an event of that size, and what is still considered one of the most important fights in the history of the sport. Cribb beat Molyneux in 35 rounds. The finish was not without controversy, as Cribb was allegedly allowed more than the customary 30 seconds to get up from the knockdown, and Molyneux was later injured by spectators who attacked him in the middle of the ring. Richmond fought his own last sanctioned fight in 1815, demolishing a 26-year-old younger Tom Shelton. Although he retired from official competition, Richmond stuck around the sport. He performed at exhibitions for European royalty, was an elite trainer, even trading sparring blows with elites of British society, including Lord Byron, with whom he also became friends. Bill was even invited to attend the coronation of George IV in 1821. For a former slave from the humblest of beginnings, this was truly an amazing accomplishment. Bill the Black Terror Richmond passed away on December 28, 1829, at the age of 66. His last night was spent in a tavern owned by none other than Thomas Cribb. In their old age, the two bitter rivals had become great friends. In 2005, Richmond was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Although his career was brief, just 19 fights, 17 wins over a 10-year period, his influence on the sports was immeasurable. And that was Bill Richmond. So let me go to This is Tom Mullinax. And I'll just say a little bit about him because I spoke about him in the story about Bill Richmond. Now, Mullinax had traveled an indescribable distance in miles and circumference from the tobacco plantation into which he was born. Though he held onto his slave owner's surname after winning his freedom through boxing and leaving the toxic southern states as fast as he could, like most liberated African Americans of that period, he made his way to New York, where he boxed all comers for money. Eventually, he took a 3-month ship journey to London, where he sought to fight Tom Cribb, the champion of England. Tom Mullinax is simply a huge figure, says Patrick Mallard, the boxing writer and historian. He would really be considered the pioneer. At the time he reached his peak, England was the center of boxing universe. So this would have been the first international big fight in boxing history. He was an inspirational figure to a lot of boxers, and you would often hear reference to him. Once he became famous through the fight Crib, he rapidly went downhill after that. I don't know what kind of attraction he was in Ireland, but he was on the end of a slippery slope by the time he arrived here. Mahler had come across Mullinax in contemporary writings about fights of the era and learned that he was buried in Gelwin. But it is the audacity of his life story that is as fascinating as his boxing career. A new documentary made by Days Keebling speculates that Mullinax may have been given a few lessons in the rudiments of boxing by none other than George Washington, an appealing if fanciful idea. However, he acquired his skills. He was persuaded to fight a slave from a neighboring plantation in a bout which would settle a wager between the owners. By winning the fight, Mullinax saved the slave owner's plantation, and as agreed, was granted free status and money in return. There is no written record of the exact location of Mullinax plantation. The chances are the fight merely delayed its loss and transference as a result of chronic gambling. But Tom Mullinax followed the gift that had earned him an unlikely reprieve from the tobacco fields to its logical conclusion. There is no reportage either of his fights in New York. Boxing existed there in an illicit, hastily arranged way. But after he made the crossing to England, he began to show up in the books. First, Mullinax sought and found Bill Richmond, another former African American slave who had been brought to England by Lieutenant General Earl Percy and made a living from boxing before buying an inn, the Horse and Dolphin, in Lancashire Square. Richmond secured a fight against Tom Tuff, then an aging regular on the boxing circuit, in order to raise Mullinax's profile. And by December 1810, London was giddy at the prospect of a fight between the new arrival and Cribb, landlord of the Union Arms Pub on Patton Street in Soho, and revered for his boxing prowess. Toptall Common in East Grinstead was the venue for the fight, and the date was fixed for December 18th. Because boxing was technically illegal, fights were often located right on the border of the two countries. If the constable of one country came to break up the gathering participants and the audience merely skipped into the neighboring jurisdiction, boxing attracted all walks of life, from the Prince Regent and his posse to members of the judiciary to the masses of the England infantry. If boxing is regarded as brutal today, it was utterly unforgiving and barbaric in the 19th century. Bare knuckle, the aim was to fight to the finish till one of the combatants could no longer get up. But, as they said, Mullinax kind of fell off his pimping as he moved to Ireland or whatever. But, he had a good fight with a notable fighter. And it's amazing that boxing was a venue or vehicle that elevated Black people out of slavery. It's like when you think about Roots, and that's supposed to be a true story. You think about Chicken George, he was a cockfighter. So he fought cocks. And that was of so much interest that it elevated him out of slavery. So shout outs to these boxers for being pioneers and getting involved with everything. When I was reading the Bill Richmond story, I was thinking about the full counter. I was thinking hit but don't get hit. Marcus and Queensberry rule, the boxing and the moving around. And if you think about old style ways of warring and fighting, they used to all line up, even as far back as the Civil War, and they stand on the line and they be like, "Hey," and then they let go their muskets, boom, shoot around. And I mean, no moving around, no guerrilla tactics, none of that stuff. And I guess that was the honorable way to do it. But like Bill Richmond was the Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker of that day, before Sweet Pea was Sweet Pea. Because he was all about the hit and not get hit, moving around, counter punches, and all that. And he did it in one spot. I mean, they say he kind of move around, but they're not really saying he did lateral movements and stuff like that. He basically didn't just stay there, like those slap contests you see nowadays. Who does that? But anyway, shout out to these guys, and they were notable boxers of their day. And that will conclude my Black History Month for the day. I did two to make up for yesterday. I didn't do one yesterday, so I did two today. And those were Black fighters during the 18th and 19th century that made some noise, really, like the 19th century. Because when they got their notoriety, they made some noise. They had to go overseas to get their notoriety. It sound like shit that's going on today. The Clarissa Shields. They had to go overseas to be appreciated, right? But thank you guys for joining and sitting with me. And we will see you tomorrow. Remember, like, share, and subscribe, and put a comment, whether you agree or not. Like, share, and subscribe when you step into the square circle. Lean on that leasy when you step into the heezy. Stop reckless eyeballing. Just come on in and do that. Look the sister up. Tomorrow we're gonna be doing review of whatever fights coming up this weekend. We know we got Chris Colbert. I know ain't nobody really thinking about him, but I'm gonna always tell you what fights we got coming up. Also, we got Grown Woman Talk tomorrow. I didn't do it last week, but hopefully I can get it done this week. Sunday I do my wellness show. We're gonna be talking about dehydration. What spirit that on for me was watching Tommy McGill pass out, and just to break down dehydration, in case some people out there don't know. Some of you guys know this stuff, but some people don't. And them the people I try to reach, because sometimes, through your life experience, we are to some of our experience, and it's up to us to give our testimony so other people can learn. They don't have to go through what we went through. So again, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to go like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. You guys email me a lot and you leave comments other ways, but under this, when you watch the replay, go ahead and make a comment. Tell me what you think. I wore the uniform so you can believe what you want to believe, and I can believe what I want to believe, and I respect all people's opinions and this, that, and the other. So anywho, when you know better, you do better, right? That's what we believe, right? When you know better, you do better. But I'm going to say peace till we see each other again.